Today, I'm going to teach you a very simple snack option that helps when you are craving sugar, something sweet, especially something like a candy bar. Let's check it out. First of all, what's interesting about cravings, especially processed food cravings, is not only are we addicted to the additives and the kind of flavor profile and the heightened texture and chemicals that are added, but sometimes these cravings can show us an underlying nutritional or emotional need. I do a lot of work around teaching people the emotional needs. Today, I'm going to talk a bit about the nutritional needs and how a really simple snack can help meet those needs and satisfy some of the emotional and even pleasure cravings you would get from, let's say, a candy bar. When you are craving a candy bar, when you are desiring a Snickers bar, let's say, your body is telling you something, is telling you that it's seeking more glucose, right? Because it's wanting sugar, which usually means you have gone beyond your tolerance of nutrition and calories. Maybe it's been a while since you had a meal. Maybe you're skipping a meal. Maybe you're working really hard physically or mentally or emotionally, and your brain needs more glucose. Your cells need more glucose. Often we're going to think of the most potent source of the thing our body is needing, in this case, glucose, and that's taking us to a candy bar or a pastry or something from the corner store, because you're going to get a really powerful hit and spike in glucose, which isn't just going to meet your glucose requirements, it's also going to meet your dopamine requirements. So if you're really bored or you're really stuck or you're feeling unmotivated, this ginormous spike in blood sugar that we get from candy bars and processed sugar and pastries and treats is going to stimulate your dopamine in addition to giving you a huge hit of glucose. What that then does is stimulates insulin, which greatly decreases your blood sugar levels, and then it stimulates your adrenal glands to go make more blood sugar out of stored glycogen from your liver and other muscles. So this whole sequence creates a lot of anxiety and stress and dopamine and activation. It's very exciting for the body. And even though it's stressful and biochemically creates imbalance and inflammation and autoimmune issues over time, it still fundamentally does what it's supposed to do, stimulates you into having motivation to do something. So let's go back to what I was saying about glucose. Your body's needing more glucose. The most incredible, fastest delivering whole food form of glucose is going to be fructose, found in whole, fresh fruits. Now, fructose is going to turn into glucose and it's going to spike your blood sugar levels unless it's paired with some fat and some protein. Fat and protein is going to slow down the release of fructose and its transformation into glucose, which means you're going to have less of a blood sugar spike in your body. This is important. So you're seeking the candy bar because it's a really quick hit of dopamine and glucose, but then you have those subsequent stressors afterwards of the insulin spike and then the glucose blood sugar decrease and then the adrenal spike, which just stresses out your body and creates more dependency on food that's going to depress and settle you down. So fruit is this incredible alternative to getting the glucose needs met without necessarily spiking it the way high fructose corn syrup would do or just white cane sugar would do. Now, another thing that's interesting about fruit, because it's a whole carbohydrate, it's a complex carbohydrate, and even though there's fructose, there's lots of fiber, there's lots of minerals, there's lots of enzymes, there's lots of vitamins. There are lots of other compounds that your body is getting in addition to the fructose that helps you not just digest and better use the fructose and turn it into glucose, but it makes the transformation slower. And when it comes to health in terms of the nervous system and the adrenals and a balanced, regulated, let's say, mental state, we are looking at how quickly a food turns into sugar. So the quicker the sugar enters the bloodstream and raises the blood glucose level, the faster you're going to feel dysregulated and stressed out. The more you're going to have a propensity toward addiction with that food or substance. The more mentally unwell you're going to feel. Hey, my friends. I created a space that is affordable, accessible, and anyone is allowed to join anytime, and it's called the Library Membership. The Library Membership is an online private platform that hosts dozens of my webinars, my somatic practices, private mini lectures, and movement practices. There's also a monthly sound healing, and you'll be invited to a weekly Tuesday live mini practice with me and other participants. You'll also be invited to be a live audience member in our monthly HLN team podcast recordings, where you'll take place in the Q&A that happens off air after the episode is filmed. For more information on this membership, click on the link below or go to holisticlifenavigation.com and click on membership and then library. You can join right now and you can cancel or pause your subscription at any time. I look forward to seeing you in there. So fruit is this excellent alternative to processed sugar. Now let's take it a step further, because even fruit for some individuals, depending on the kind of fruit, depending on the season, and depending on their body's metabolic abilities, some people are still going to have a glucose spike in their blood levels from eating whole, fresh, even organic fruits, because it doesn't really matter in this case. We're talking about the fructose and how quickly it turns into glucose and raises your blood sugar levels. So even though fruit has its own fiber, which slows that release, the amount, again, the kind, and the season has a lot to do with it. If you're eating fruit that's from the equator, if you're eating, let's say, pineapples or mangoes or papaya, and you live in New York and it's December or January or February, you're not creating a lot of internal heat like you would in the tropics. You're not sweating a lot. You're not experiencing humidity. You're not experiencing the proper environment for that food, because these really juicy, high sugary fruits help sustain and support your electrolytes, your blood sugar levels, and they nourish your body from heat exhaustion, which you would get if you're walking around the tropics for a while. So understanding even the type of fruit you're eating, when you're eating it, and if this fruit is local or could be grown locally are great, let's say, standards to hold yourself to when it comes to what kind of fruit am I going to eat that's most healthy for my blood sugar levels. So if you're much more north of the equator, you want to stick to berries, apples, and pears. These are really excellent fruits that are going to be much lower in the glycemic spike, but also are going to be a little more congruent with your latitude in terms of light and with the kind of climate you live in. But now, even a step further, pairing this fruit with a fat and with a protein is going to slow down that glucose spike even more. And this is where the, let's say, sophistication, if you will, the covert intelligence of your cravings come in. I don't just want a cup of sugar. I want a Snickers bar. There are so many complex ingredients to that. There's fat, there's protein, there's salt, there's sugar. I want to play with all of that in this fruit snack. So the simplest way to do so is to take whatever nut butter is your favorite, add salt to it, and spread that on the fruit or eat that in between bites of the fruit while you're ingesting the fruit. This is going to give you the complex taste that you're looking for. It's going to give you the saltiness. It's going to give you a little bit of the crunchiness, especially if it's a natural nut butter or a crunchy nut butter. It's going to give you the fats, and it's going to give you the protein in addition to the crunch and the sweet juiciness of the fruit. So all these different flavors and textures come in. It meets the emotional need, it meets the pleasure need, and it meets your nutritional need. Now, one thing I'm going to say about nut butters, you want to make sure they are natural, ideally organic, but at least natural, which means the only thing that should be on the back of that label when you look at it is the nut and maybe some salt. If there's any oil added, if there's any corn syrup or sugar, if there's any stabilizers, stay away from that. You just want a plain nut butter. If you're having peanut butter, it should just say peanuts and salt. Almond butter should just say almonds and salt. If it's a mixture, it might say almonds, peanuts, cashews, salt. But stay away from anything that says palm oil, has added oils, any kind of sugars like corn syrup or cane sugar, and any kind of stabilizers or preservatives. So you're having your ground up nuts or seeds if you're allergic to nuts. You can add salt if there isn't salt already added, and spread that on your fruit. My favorite way to do this is with an apple. I eat an apple, I spread a little bit of salted almond butter on that apple, I eat it again. It slows down the release of blood sugar. It satisfies those pleasure and emotional and nutritional needs. And my body feels much more balanced afterwards. And I don't even want the Snickers bar. So next time you're craving a candy bar or a cookie or some kind of pastry snack, some kind of processed sugar, just have an apple or fruit of your choice with a salted nut butter. And tell me what happens in the comments below. Does it help? Does it not? How do you feel afterwards? Let me know. See you next time. Thank you for watching today's episode. Please like and subscribe if you found it useful, and let me know in the comments what you want me to cover next.